Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Lift Tower. My name's Charles McGillivray, and as always, I'm joined by Simon Stacey and Jess Kebble. We're a fans podcast by fans for fans of Northampton Saints. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow us on all our socials, leave feedback, let us know what you're thinking. How you both doing?
Good, thank you very much, mate.
Thank you.
Good. It's always a bit of a tricky one when there's no Saints action, isn't it? It's always a bit. What else can we watch? I guess there was another tournament on that we can have a chat about.
Well, yeah, I'd say so. With quarter of the team Saintsly based anyway, so yeah, good weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. How do you think the boys got on then?
Yeah, I thought they did really well. The one that never gets mentioned at Saints, I thought he played really well for England as well. Dingers, I thought he was absolutely amazing. Like he does week in week out for us. Tommy's being Tommy, obviously. Pollock was unlucky not to get his try because he was in touch. Straight on, straight in when it's literally, yeah. And you can't really deny Coles does what Coles does. And I wouldn't even say it was a shock going to Daniello, the win over Scotland. That's not really a shock now because Italy are up there, aren't they? So they deserved their win, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot there to cover. I mean, covering off Italy, I thought, yeah, it's not really a shock. It was first half was cracking game, and it was always going to be a close game. But I did think that it was disappointing that the weather sort of curtailed the game, and they were like running around in puddles at the end, weren't they? So
it was
like
very
that could have been a cracking game, I think, and it just sort of died a bit of a damp squid, for a better phrase, really, because of the weather. But yeah, but Daniela was good. But then cover off the mainstay of it, the Saints boys. Like you said, I thought Dingles was outrageously good. He just makes everyone around him look good, and I don't think you can comment too much on the performance of England because Wales are bad. I'm trying to say that as quietly as I can, but like they're not fit for purpose in that tournament, are they? They're so far off the levels. I mean, like Italy have been bad in years gone by. I don't think Italy have ever been as bad as Wales are now. They're awful.
Yes, I can't really say it because always like rivals, aren't they? But it's quite sad to see because they normally are a force to reckon with, and yeah, there was literally never in doubt that game. You could have put the I don't know, the under-18s probably against that Welsh side, and they probably would have won. It's a bit sad to see, but yeah, I'm not going to argue. England won convincingly. They could have literally made that score doubled if they tried, but they didn't need to, did they?
No, I think it wasn't a good game to watch, really. Like sometimes you think that like big victories would be, but it isn't when, like you said, the opposition and there's so many reasons for it. Like everything that's going on in World Rugby at the moment, like I don't really. I say that the players are probably the last people I blame for probably finding the whole situation so difficult, and it's probably really difficult to kind of get up for matches at this point. But it was also typified by things like, Darry Lake not tapping for a tap and go, like in the nicest the nicest way possible. I mean this, but like it's the sort of error that you'd expect, like maybe the under 10s to make. Do you know what I mean? Like
Saints have made that error in the last season.
Sure. Whenever it gets made, you just sort of like, come on, like you don't even have to tap it far. I mean, it barely has to move. Your foot basically just has to touch it. Like he does the motion, but it gets nowhere near the ball, and you just think it was like the last thing that it was like the last thing they needed when they had already been sort of under the cosh. And yeah, I wouldn't say it was like necessarily a vintage England performance. Like considering we've got sterner opposition to come up, I think they probably should have put Wales away a bit better than that. But yeah, it's a tough one because you just want. It's like how I felt every time when Italy were in the competition and like could never quite push any of the teams above them. It's like you want 6 teams competing at a good level. Like that at the end of the day is actually what the competition needs and what people want to see. And it's just, yeah. But I mean, at least from a Saints perspective, it's good to see so many get in the squad, and Finn is back in the the
Yeah.
36-man squad for this weekend. So yeah, it's certainly good to see it from that perspective. Obviously, even though like the Italy-Scotland game didn't go Miller Mills's way either, it's really great representation from that side of it. But yeah, you're right about when they were talking about man of the match. I think Tommy was like on the cusp of their like final list, and he was great. But for me, like Dingers was just setting everyone up left, right, and centre. Like he's like the least selfish player like ever. Because there was a couple of them I was like he could have scored those himself, but he took the option to just make sure that they got it over the line. Like I thought he was incredible. But it's kind of a thing where no, at least they're seeing it, the coaches are seeing it, even if it's it's not the flashy stuff. It's like Dingers was quietly brilliant and Tommy was loudly brilliant. And that's probably why they work so well together as a 12-13 partnership. Like Tommy was really back on it that game in particular, because obviously everyone talks about should he be on the wing, should he be in the centre, and there's all this debate is probably going to follow him for his whole his entire career probably. But he had such a good game in the 13 channel, and I do think that's helped by having Dingers there on the 12.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think, yeah, like you said it. I've said it a million times. If you people picking an all-time Ireland team, they definitely have O'Driscoll as their first name, but they wouldn't necessarily say Gordon Darcy. And you think how many times did the two of them play together for Ireland? I really think there's so much similarities, albeit I think Tommy is a different player to O'Driscoll in the fact that he's massive. Like how he finished that try down that. I know he was on the wing at that point. No, Tommy's world class, and Dingers makes people look world class. That's the way I would sort of put it. And I thought Mitch was set back to his peak sort of thing. The only thing I would say, going back to what Si said about Pollock deserving his try and etc etc. It's the first criticism I'm ever going to have of him. I think it's the first time he's ever made a mistake on a rugby field. I'm sure of it. But how has he not finished that? Get the ball down. Get the ball down on the ground. Get it on the line. Don't go 2 feet fast so that you go out into touch. He should have finished that. He got lucky with the high shot, making it be a penalty try. Not that he got lucky to get hit in the face, but you know what I mean. But like he should be finishing that, and I guess he'll learn from that piece. But get the ball down. Score the try.
Yeah, we can give him some grace considering how many he has scored. I was like, he can have one. He can have one in the column, but no, the same thing. I remember when he's getting closer to the line. I was like, no, you need to be diving for that. You need to get it down near to the line, not over the line. But then yeah, England still ended up with 7 points, so you can't really complain. But yeah, I do wish they brought him on a bit earlier. Like they brought quite a lot of the subs on at sort of 50 minutes, and I thought that he should have probably been one of them just to get a bit more time, just because the game had kind of, I don't want to say tapered off necessarily, but I don't know, felt like it could have used him a bit earlier maybe, just to spice it up a little bit.
I forgot to mention someone. Big Trev, come on, didn't he? 30 minutes.
I was going to say, Big Trev was
quality.
Big Trev. He was quality as well. He was throwing it around. He hit some absolute ferocity, like clear outs were world class. He was brilliant. The interesting thing with Pollock though as well was came on for Tom Roebuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. He did, but then they moved.
I think they moved
to centre.
They moved Tommy out to centre, and I was like, no, put Henry on the wing. Like you should, because the game is kind of finished at that point. And they were like, he's been training. I was like, so just do it. I'd love to see what it's like, but no, they did put Earl into the centre. But I suppose it didn't really matter at that point. But yeah, that would have been fun, definitely. I mean, we see him there most of the time anyway. It's where he scores most of his tries. Is running down the wing anyway. So
he did. I can't think who it was up against, but he did skin a man down the wing, and he sort of managed to stay in as well. But he absolutely took him on and went round. I can't remember who it was, but skinned a man down the left wing. That's for sure. Yeah, I think. It's so hard. They're all so good. I think Cole's called the line pretty well. I think he might be unlucky in the next fixture with Itoje might come back into start. But I thought he looked good while he was on, and they all really there's no criticism other than Pollock needing to learn how to score tries, but other than that they all went pretty well. And even when Mills came on. For Scotland, he looked good.
I was going to say he would have loved that, wouldn't he, against Daniello?
Yeah, think of that 3 international props playing in Six Nations were Saints.
Yeah.
It's been a long time
Oh.
since we've had that many international front
Yeah.
rowers.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of them are thanking the signing of JJ. It makes you
Hmm,
look a bit better in your
possibly,
club
yeah.
game when you got JJ behind you, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely does, yeah, just to shove you along. But yeah, like the club's in a good place, and like I still consider like international call-ups like a good thing for the club, obviously as well for many different reasons. So, and then Manny's still in there. So at least they're getting training with them, getting good experience. So all in all, it's just going to be like a net positive for the club and the team, and definitely helps when you win. But yeah, there's going to be some tough. But I think we've got Scotland next, right, and they're going to be smarting definitely. And I don't even want to think about playing France, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Particularly
they
as
look
it's in
pretty good, don't they,
France.
France? They look pretty
Yeah.
good.
I
Did,
think it
did,
helped that I think it really helped them that Ireland were bad
that's what I was about to
for a
say.
large
Did they
portion
look
of it.
that good, or
They were
Ireland was
really
that bad?
bad.
They were awful.
Oh, they were
I
bad,
think,
but
I think it was a bit of the both. Like the French
but
forward
yeah,
pack's just
definitely
like
both.
so
Yeah,
dynamic, isn't it? It's so fast and powerful.
yeah,
But then I think Ireland are starting to experience. I think Scotland to some extent as well, starting to feel that experience of having a coach in situ for too long. Like there's no doubting that those two head coaches are top draw coaches because they've delivered top draw results over their time. But when it's such an emotional sport, and you need to get the emotions of the players and the buy-in of the players because you've got to go ask them to go out there and put their bodies on the line. And that one voice, that same voice, can only be that inspirational for so long. Like Faz is clearly a remarkable person and has done great things and is clearly a really good motivator. But I don't think any head coach can be the lead voice, lead motivator of a side for over a decade and maintain that level of that buy-in from the players. You look at the way Dowson has managed the coaching setup at Saints. And it's sort of what Fergie used to do in football. You keep changing the voice and the people underneath you so that they get different noises, different motivations, different opinions. How big it impacted Radders have when he came in. How big an impact this season, I guess, has Jacko had in terms of being a new voice. You've got to get that new voice because you've only got so much credit in the bank, and then it runs out. However good you are, there are very few coaches can live at the top level for that long period. And I think with Ireland as well, we've said it before about their domestic setup being so Leinster heavy that that's affecting their international performances, I think, as well. But the voice at the top, I think, is a big factor. But
They're also aging. They're
they are
also
aging.
aging,
Yeah.
though, aren't they? That's the thing.
yeah.
I'm no offense to him because he got skinned by Pollock, but if you've got Prendergast at 10, you're not going to be winning many games. Sorry, because he's not international level in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got holes in his game, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But like it's the Leinster models, the bigger issue for them as anything because they pick the players who play for Leinster and they know that they're going to be in the Ireland side, and therefore they don't play them for Leinster, they rest them. You're basically picking your Ireland team at the beginning of the season
Yeah.
because you go, well, we'll send the second team to away to Cardiff. We're not going to send the top internationals, so therefore you've basically got to pick those people that you've rested.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that they're so good at that level, they never get a challenge until European semi-final, and you get a bloody nose from a small little East Midlands club that turns up and knocks you out. That's the thing is they just don't get challenged, do they? And then whereas the French team, that French league is an absolute slog, isn't it? So
Yeah.
they've been challenged week in week out. They're being pushed into those scenarios. So when you get to the international level and you get pushed, well, you've been there all year. Whereas the Leinster boys sort of got there and like, going, oh yeah, I remember international's quite a bit harder, isn't it? We've got to try a bit harder. We've got to get a big bit, dig deep a bit, but etc. But yeah. But anyway, it's a different perspective. I think. I suppose the question to ask is, Finn being in the main squad now following his sort of recovery from injury, do we think he has a shot of getting in the 23?
Unfortunately, Ford had an absolute blinder, didn't he? So I really don't think he will be, no. And especially
No.
as he's not got any game practice under him, has he, for weeks? So he's not going to
I
be. He
think they're
might
in
even be
the
released back to Saints. You never know, just to play Friday night,
No
just to
chance.
get some game time.
they're
Like, what? They're not
they're in
sending him
the
to Quins on a Friday night in the PRC.
Well, he needs to get some game time under his belt. He hasn't played for what, a month?
Yeah, I can't see it happening there, but yeah, I see what
I
you
think
mean.
I think the issue that faced him really is that because the Wales game was first and he wasn't fit in time for it, that would have probably been the game that they could have potentially put him in to see what his form is like. I I certainly don't see him being in the 23 for Scotland away, because that's probably going to be quite a tough game, because it tends to be for whatever reason. Um, there's always a good kind of battle with Scotland each sort of year, and then you just get into the it just gets harder and harder, the teams that you go through, and the reality is they're going to pick who's playing well and who's on form. Um, and yeah, it was a typical thing with George Ford of like the team's on the front foot and he knows exactly how to keep them that way. Um, and
Yeah,
yeah, I suppose it would depend what happens, but I genuinely don't think we'll see Finn in this tournament whatsoever, let alone this
I,
game.
I fully agree. I think yeah, you can only beat what's in front of you. So and I think you'd put if you put my grandmother in at 10 against for England against Wales, she'd probably do an alright job. Like the Fords were that dominant, but yeah, Ford did a great job in terms of doing what he had to do. Like you can't fault him. So and like we've said before, he's great when you've got on the front foot. Yeah, that's his real skill set. And I think in the Six Nations, you don't pick a side and then mix and match as you go. You pick your side, and that's you've laid it then out. That's it for the tournament to try and win the tournament. Um, the only way I think Finn gets game time is if England lose the next two matches, and at which point you're starting to panic slash try other
Yeah.
things, or we're not going to win
Mm.
it, so let's mix it up. But I think they'll stick with Ford, and I think that's understandable from a coaching point of view. You can't really criticize that decision, I wouldn't have thought.
No, I think they'll stick, like you said. I think the only changes in that 23 will be some people starting over some people on the bench. Like, I think that's the only swatch you'll see. Like you said, Coles hasn't done anything wrong, but there's no way that they're not putting Marrow in to start. And the
Yeah.
reality is that Marrow and Coles probably don't work together. Whereas, I mean, Chesham was awesome. So whoever you put in with Chesham, like that's probably going to be the. But yeah, I suppose that, yeah, the only I think that's the only difference that you might see is, like you said, like certain people might get bench slash start, but I can't see outside of injuries. I can't really see where they would even make changes in the 23. To be honest with you.
No, I don't think they will. I think that's the side, isn't it? I think you're right. Itoje comes in, and I would say it's basically a case of who plays with Itoje is probably the selection call. In
Yeah,
reality, and therefore
yeah,
Chesn probably, sure, Chesn probably has the form in the white shirt, whereas Coles probably has a form
yeah,
domestically.
yeah.
I think it's probably and like Coles was excellent and he offers you something slightly different, but I think Chesham and Coles are probably the like for like, and
Mm.
Chesham was really good. So it's again
Yeah.
I just pick all Saints players, but you have got to sort of accept that then that's probably a fair decision to have Chesham in at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they'll do. I, yeah, I don't think they'll change. And then obviously, I mean, Faye Weboso is out for the whole tournament now. Um, so yeah, that probably means that. Yeah, I guess. Well, I don't know. I suppose it might be if something else happens that Tommy ends up going out onto the wing for any particular reason. But yeah, otherwise I can't really see. I kind of would like to actually see him and Dingers like consistently playing one tournament together in that partnership to really see how far it can go. So that should be quite exciting. But yeah, I don't. And that's not me saying that like Finn shouldn't get in or whatever. It's just, like I said, once you start a tournament, you'd have to have a big reason to change. Particularly like as I just said, like it most likely we've had the easiest opponent already. And
Yeah.
we went very strong, and so it was obvious that it's to build them up ready for the the fixtures getting tougher as we because I think we've got France last, right? So essentially each week that we go, it gets kind of progressively harder until it gets to the hardest one at the end. So they want that team like bled in and ready to go. So as much as it's a shame, um, no, we probably won't see him, and then it becomes a question realistically, potentially, of where we see him before the World Cup if we do. I wonder if they're at the stage of Ford takes them up to the World Cup and then that's Ford done, and then it's someone else's chance. So there's unfortunately, at least in my mind, and I could be wrong, but a decent chance that perhaps he doesn't feature much for England at all.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think there's always opportunities. I think if something happened to Ford, then I wouldn't be surprised if Finn was actually the next cab off the rank rather than Marcus, even though Marcus was on the bench. But yeah, I think they've got a side. It's just thrashed Wales. They're not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater and change anything either. It's gonna be what it is.
And that's
You
another thing
mentioned,
as well with
I was
sorry,
gonna,
it's another thing with Faye Weboso being out as well, obviously, is that you need Tommy to cover the wing potentially as well. And so it just means that Marcus is a natural bench. He is anyway, but he's a natural bench choice because he can slot if people need to move around. He's helpful for that perspective. But I do agree. I think in terms of the tenure, I actually do think Finn is probably second in the line. But because they need Marcus, it just means that he doesn't get time at all. And that's the unfortunate kind of part of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you're going back to Itoje. Is that because he's captain? Is that like a bit of a poison thing? You have to pick him because technically, I'm not saying this because he's a Thari. I don't really see what he does as much as he used to do a few years back. I'm not being biased. I'd pick Coles ahead of him, but because he's captain, he's going to come back in, isn't he? I think Coles offers you more.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few things to that. I think captaincy is 100% a factor, right? But I also think that they are different types of players, and you get different balance from having him and another. I think having Chesham and Coles, you're probably on the lighter side of locks
Yeah,
there, whereas
just
Itoje is more classic sort of tight head lock. I do agree with you though that like I've always said the issue with Marrow is consistency of the performance because he's had some games where he's just been like against some always against the All Blacks. He's the best player on the pitch, and it's like super high level that he's delivering at. But then you don't get that 11 out of 10 every week. You get more, some weeks he's sort of, was he on the pitch? What did he do? And then some and
exactly. Yeah.
the rules have sort of not gone in his favour a bit in some of the nuisances and bits and pieces that he used to do, where he was just you couldn't get away from him because he was kicking the ball through the ruck, and he was just a bit more in your face than what he is now. But I think they do pick him, and I think it's his physicality and his sort of unseen stuff, hitting
Yeah.
rucks, hitting mauls and stuff like that he probably adds a bit more value than Coles does or Chesham does, I'd say.
I also
Yeah.
think they think it's worth it for if he does bring that like 11 out of 10 performance. That's probably worth risking it for if he does. And I also think that like outside of his playing ability, I actually do think he's a really good captain. Like I wasn't sold on him before the Lions, but I actually think he's a really good captain and they respect him and they kind of want to follow him. It's unfortunate for him at the weekend that he was benched and he came on and they were on a team warning and he gave a penalty away and went off about 20 seconds later. I was like, oh, for God's sake. But I
I
think
think
they've,
he's
he's had a tough time personally, hasn't he? So
Yeah.
he was eased back in, but no, I think from next week he'll be fully in and raring to go.
I think he's a better leader than George is. I think George is everyone's mate, and that sort of vibe. Whereas Itoje is sort of very well respected in the game. I don't think he's a big orator and a big speech giver or anything like that. But he's, I'll go first. I'll get it done. Everyone follow me, sort of captaincy. And he wouldn't be my choice of captain, but I can understand why he is, and I think he's a strong contender of it. I mean, I think it's inevitable that you're going to see a change of captaincy. The Saints, for example, and I think Dingers is basically lined up like it's
Yeah,
inevitable he's going to be captain. And you
yeah.
see the way that he communicates with referees and other players. It's just like he's so well delivered in what he's and so well measured. It's a completely different way again. There's no right or
Yeah.
wrong way of doing it. Um, but
Can you,
yeah,
going back to what you just said there? I know he's good at what he kind of does, but can you explain why George is being picked first as well? I don't get
no,
that.
I don't get that. I mean,
I
he's negative
do not
meters, isn't
get
he?
it.
Negative meters, Jamie George. Like every collision he loses, like he basically. And if you look at the line out, every line out is to Itoje at like near the front. He's not like he's banging the tail every time. He's I don't.
I
He's
don't
a
understand it.
yeah. I think I I think it's probably his calmness on the pitch, which is the value he brings. Like
He
he's
also
very
a big
measured.
lump, isn't he? He's a big lump. To be fair, he's the biggest hooker we've got.
Or someone tell him that because like when he
Oh yeah,
carries, he goes backwards.
yeah.
You know, like the collisions are awful.
Please don't
I
think I'm being because he's the loveliest guy. He's so not. He's such a good. But that's not what you need. I just don't get how he's being picked ahead of Cowan Dickey. Obviously, our boy's not fit, but there's so many hookers that I would pick ahead of him. He wouldn't even be my third or fourth choice at the minute. To be fair,
I wouldn't pick him because I think the parts around the pitch are fundamentally more important than a lot of things. Like I think ball carrying from a hooker is really important. I think winning collisions defensively is really important, and he doesn't bring that. What he brings is a bit of security at the line out and a bit of steady Eddie approach to things. But
yeah.
the problem being is I don't think there is the depth that you're saying. Like
Uh,
I think Cohen Dickey is clearly really good, and
he's
would be my first choice. But
yeah.
then you look at Theo Dan, who is like a ball of thunder around the pitch, but he can't hit two in the lineup. Like he
No,
can't throw a ball. Like he genuinely cannot throw a ball straight in over 6 foot. So you just can't pick him. And then it's like, well, yeah, Landon would be a good shout if fit,
he's injured. Yeah, no.
but he's injured, and so it's sort of there aren't that many that are delivering at sort of Cohen Dickey's level, I would say, and therefore, Jamie George plays for. Has got a lot of caps, a lot of experience, and that sort of helps, doesn't it? If
Yeah,
you're
but
picking,
he'd be the bench for me, and I'd have Cowan Dickey starting. That's why I don't understand the switch there.
that's because it's the old Pom squad, isn't it? Like that they come with this like absolutely that bench was stacked beyond belief, wasn't it?
This England squad is insane. And again, if they don't get to the final of the World Cup or even try and win it, it'll be a massive underachievement yet again because this has got to be one of the strongest squads I think I've ever seen. I know you're not an England fan, but we've got so much quality in every position. It's a joke. And maybe Hooker's a bit light, like you just said, but
Yeah, but
everywhere else is
that's
just.
right. England have got no excuses. They should score. They should get a Grand Slam in the Six Nations. Anything else, you failed.
Well, France. You're talking France here.
Yeah, but you should be backing yourself to beat France.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I will be backing them to beat France, but France are there
The
or
thing is,
thereabouts, aren't
France got lots of good players and a really good league, but they don't have the same professional game agreement that England have got in place for the Prem. So they don't get anywhere near as much access to the players that the England squad get. And like when they have the off weeks, the French players have to go back and play. Like the agreement in place for the PGA is really good now for the England to perform. I just think there's no excuses. Yeah, you could say if they lose to France, it's yeah, France. As a fan, you go, oh, well, yeah, France are a good team. But I still think that if you're Borthwick, you should. That's what you're paid to do is beat France, and if you don't do it, you failed. You know, it's elite level sport, isn't it?
it? Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think
Could
the
be.
difficulty is like it's a very different prospect usually of like. So, I'm pretty sure we beat France at home last year. I think maybe, but I feel like France on the road is like France in France with the French crowd and all of that kind of. It's like a completely different prospect to like France anywhere else. So yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be tough, but I still think England have a chance. Like certainly. But
They should definitely have at least a chance.
yeah, no, they definitely do. But
Yeah,
well, who
I think
knows? Who
it's
knows?
also like funnier still where the fact that one of the best coaches in the world is English and he's coaching France.
Yeah.
You know, how on earth is Sean Edwards allowed to go over the channel and work for
Mate,
them?
he was over the board of working for the Welsh first, wasn't he? So
Yeah, he proved his
he's the
worth.
ultimate
He's
he's
supposed
the
to go
ultimate
off.
traitor, really, isn't he? He's the ultimate traitor to the English. Goes to play
Mhm.
goes to help the Welsh, then he goes over and helps the French. Always go
Yeah,
down as an absolute legend. Though I'm a rugby league fan as well as a Wigan legend, so I will not speak bad of that man.
he's like delivered more success in rugby union coaching than any coach I can think of. You know, Gatlin just rode him like years, didn't he? Basically,
That
the Gatlin
that's
just took
because
him wherever he went and made him and they won.
that's because you do not listen to the man. He will not let you. He's fierce. He's like a pit bull. He drills it into you, and you will even in French. You heard him with his Wigan accent. Hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean. Totally agree. How the heck we haven't had him over here when we've struggled with defence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, do we talk slightly Saints? It's difficult because it's PRC and it's very hard to know what teams are going to be named and
Yeah.
etc. etc. And then you had the added complications of the under 20s are playing. I know England A I think was one game, so those players should come back for the
Yep.
but then they're coming onto a Friday night, so less prep and all sorts of things going on. But I guess it's make or break for the team in that competition to make sure they get a win, and then it will all depend on how strong Quins go.
Yeah, I mean the reality is like I'm just looking at the table now. Like obviously Leicester won over the weekend. So like them on 24, us on 15, like the likelihood of it's only one team per pool that gets through. So the likelihood is that this competition's over for us in terms of progressing. But there's still a lot on the line, I think, in terms of performances and winning matches. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was more to it than that, but maybe I'm wrong. There's two pools, so two
Yeah, two
teams go through.
pools.
So two teams go through each. So second goes
Oh,
through.
sorry. I for some reason I thought it just went straight through to the semi-final.
No, yeah, to a
Oh
semi-final.
no,
So doesn't no, it doesn't.
that's just
Last year it went quarter-final, semi-final, final, didn't it? We got knocked
oh.
out by Ealing in the quarters.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So therefore
Home.
you need. Yeah, maybe
But
they
then
get they.
but then this but then this says here that the knockout stage is only going to be divided into the two semi-final matches and a final match.
Yeah, so there has to be four teams. So two from each
Okay, yeah.
group.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sort of us and Sarries, and then I mean Quins, I guess could still get through, but they're on 5 points. So
No, I don't
even if
think
they
they
got
can.
even if they got 2 wins, I don't think so.
So,
Um,
but we've got that
so
game in
no,
hand.
they're out.
So we've basically got this game against Quins as our game in hand. So if
Yeah.
we win this with a bonus point, we'd go second in the group.
Hmm.
And potentially looking at, it could be, a trip to the West Country by looks of things, if we got for a semi-final, if we were to get through it. But
Oh yeah, that first pool is close though, isn't it? Look at it.
yeah, really
Gloucester
close.
on 19, Exeter could be any of them three.
It's also funny that group, isn't it? Because like I suppose it's the same with our group as well. Like the travel isn't that far, and then you have Sale. It's like the West
Yeah.
Country is Sale. So
Yeah.
why? Because they're on the west of England, they qualify for that group. I guess that's what it is. Because then you look at our group, and it's sort of East Midlands, London, and then Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All pretty close, and then Newcastle. But anyway, I guess that just shows you about the way rugby's built at the moment in the UK. It's got pockets of where it's big, plus two northern clubs.
Well,
Yeah.
they messed up by not. Was it? I'm not going to get involved in politics rugby. Didn't they mess up with not paying the championship size or something? So that's why they withdrew.
Yeah, why the championship clubs asked for more money, and they said no.
Yeah.
I think the championship clubs probably overplayed their hand because the Prem have the Prem Cup, they invited the Championship to join and paid them. It's sort of at their prerogative. So if they go,
Yeah,
we want more money, well, it's coming out of the pocket of the Prem clubs. They're all businesses losing money
yeah, exactly.
because they're making the decisions. They're not going to say yes to that, are they? So,
It's just sad though, because I don't know if Jess even remembers this, because it make me sound old now. But this used to be a proper like FA Cup trophy sort of thing. As back in the day, like you'd play away at Oral, you'd play at Preston Grasshoppers. It was a proper like. Well, I remember being at Oral, nearly getting beat by Oral, and like if it was like 55-52 or something, the game was absolutely insane. And like now, it's just a bit of an academy development cup, isn't it? It's really sad.
it's sad, but it's also just the way the game has gone because
I know.
the size of it. Like when Saints played, I remember watching games like Wasp v Pretemp Bees and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and like it was like a cup, like an FA Cup. But if you did FA Cup sort of style now,
yeah.
it's you're talking about completely different outfits where it's not like football where okay 11 people go out on a pitch and they might leave 11, they might lose 11-0, but at the end of the day they're all walking off the pitch and they're fine. If you play against a tier 3 side now, you're playing against an amateur sportsman against a professional athlete who is tuned as a professional
Yeah.
athlete. Like, could you imagine trying attacking JJ? Like, you've worked in the bank all week and now you've got to try and stick your head in
Yeah, but
AJ's spokes.
imagine if you
JJ's
did.
spokes.
Imagine if you did, or you take down. I know you're not going to play him because he's obviously with England, but take down a Pollock. You go, I absolutely mullered Pollock. That'd be like, yeah, that's you 3 beers for the rest of the season. Probably
Yeah, but
break your arm doing it, but yeah.
I think it's a big risk of your physical health in some instances.
Yeah, I know. I
You
know.
know,
It's
and
just
like
sad
this,
though, because it was amazing. It used to get like 80,000 at Twickenham as a
yeah,
final.
yeah, yeah. It used to be quite. I mean, you go back to when it was the John Player Cup before, like the leagues and that sort of stuff developed.
Yeah.
But that's just, yeah, that's the past, I think, unfortunately. And like there's certain elements as well where it just wouldn't be remotely safe. Imagine scrum time.
Oh, yeah,
It
I suppose.
it's yeah, it is what it is. And I think they've probably done the right thing though in downplaying this competition, turning it into in a more of a development competition, opportunities to get players fit, give opportunities to those not playing, because it's not competing with the Six Nations, and rugby has been cannibalising itself for so long. Of having, we'd play East Midlands Derby fixtures without our best players, but and that's not good for the domestic sport because it just downgrades it to a second class competition. At least if you can go right, the Prem is the Prem, all the best players, and that's why I don't believe they should expand the league. I think 10's a good number, but it means that you get a great competition. And now that Red Bull are good or going to be good, you're going to get so much up and down over the years, aren't you? It's like tight leagues. It's a great comp, and
You can buy
this
all the players you want. You got to make a team. They're literally every week. I see they've signed 1 or 2 players. It's like their squad's going to be insane, but can they all play together? We'll soon see.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah. I think Red Bull do things right, so I think they would. But you're right. Remember when London Welsh got accidentally promoted, and it
Yeah.
basically killed them off.
Piri Whippu, people like that. So if Piri Whippu playing for London Welsh was just insane.
He only. I might be wrong with this, but I think the only reason they signed him was because he couldn't get a contract in New Zealand because he'd had a heart defect,
Oh, okay.
and he was touting his wares and got yeah, London Wells answered the cut. I might be wrong, but he did have a heart defect at some point. Whether it was after that or not, but I think that was the reason. But they had Gavin Henson,
Yeah.
Tom May.
Yeah.
I went because they used to play at Old Deer Park,
Yeah, I
and
used to go.
I was there in the clubhouse because I was watching Middlesex cricket play there actually, and there's a Gavin Henson shirt on the wall. The club doesn't exist anymore, but there's a Gavin Henson shirt on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose I guess the difficulty we've got in this competition at the moment is like there are other clubs that are definitely using it because it's all they've got. Like Newcastle, like sure in the Prem they're maybe not going as strong, but they're going to be very strong in this competition. And you've got like Gloucester who are obviously going really strong, who realistically don't have prospects, who already don't have the prospects in the Prem, or or European. So, that's the difficulty that we come up against. That there are some teams that, I mean, it's what we thought about Leicester, and in the end they didn't, and maybe that's because they're still in the top four, so maybe they think there's something else to fight for. But you've got to think that usually, at least typically, it tends to be teams outside of Bath who obviously just put them all in one time and won the competition the same year as the Prem. But typically, the winners tend to be the teams that are actually lower down in the Prem because they're putting the in, and then I'm assuming maybe the same with Quins, right? Is they are really struggling for form from a Prem perspective. There's every chance they go quite strong because their players need time. And so that might actually be a fairly full strength Quins team at the Stoop on Friday versus ours. It certainly won't be. And like you said, we're missing a couple of, like I said, the under-20s who are obviously in an actual tournament at this point. They're all going to be gone. So then we're having to go through even more the reserves to the reserves, as it were. So it actually just gets really tough, I think, from here on out for us with the fixtures that we have left.
Yeah, definitely. But then it does make it like it's an actual competition in that sense, and
Yeah.
also it's fun. It's really good. I think you'd rather they play strong teams because the benefit of the tournament for Saints is exposing that sort of second group to top level rugby. Otherwise, how are you going to develop James Pater and Archie McParland if they all they do is play against other second under 20s whatever teams? They need to play against teams as good as that Leicester side that came to the Gardens to understand the level, and if we can have a good run, Quins away, Falcons away, Sarries at home, etc., and get into a knockout match against whoever it may be, Gloucester, etc., and Gloucester take it seriously, well, that's like a Prem standard game for those players to be exposed to, which you can't take that risk in the actual Prem because you've got to win it because every game is so important. So it gives you exposure to it. And like I said, the team that played against Leicester plays against the best team in the league every week. So, it would be really good to understand where that standard actually is because they could be the second best team in the country, You never know.
It's how we talk about that with the different strokes for different folks. Like every team in this tournament have their own strategy for what they need that tournament to be for them. Now, I'm not saying that Douse and the team don't want to win the tournament, but I don't think it's at the top of their list. I think it's probably second to exactly what you just said, giving all these players experience so that in a couple of years' time, when they're going to start playing in the Prem consistently, like they're ready for it. Like even if you lose, you still learn something. And obviously, against Leicester, we didn't lose, and they probably took tons away from that in terms of what they did well, what they didn't. The fact that it was they kind of let Leicester back in a bit at the end. Like there were things to learn from that fixture. So that that's not me saying that we shouldn't be trying to win it or anything, but to me that comes a pretty clear second to just getting those players playing some of the top teams, some of the teams in the Prem, the players that they would be playing against, like you said, week in, week out, if it was in the Prem. Because I think certainly teams like Quins, Gloucester and Newcastle are going to be putting a full strength of team out as they can, I would imagine, most weeks because they need it for that reason as well. They really don't have the form going into the Prem, so it just gets them more game time.
It also gives them a chance to play as well, doesn't it? Like we haven't got the Wanderers anymore, so these lads aren't playing.
Yeah.
They're at a certain level, but they're not getting in the 23 to play in the Prem. So, like you said, it gives them a chance to get some game time and show what they can do. And look what they did.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Up the road.
Yeah. We're lucky at Saints as well because we've got so many players that aren't just going to international camps but playing too. So they're actually getting game time, etc. As like you said, certain teams like your Gloucesters and your Red Bulls in particular, and there are a few Quins players in the England squad, but not a huge amount. So, they actually can't have 6 weeks off because otherwise their players literally aren't doing anything. So, it really is just different teams in different places. Like, we're so lucky to have international players going and they'll be coming back in some kind of form because they've been playing the whole time. And the other Prem clubs that don't have as many that go away need to be in that same position when the Prem starts again. So it gets really tough. But like you said, that's probably what Saints want. Like I said, they probably want to be playing against the toughest opponents they can to see, it's a good marker for where they are. And look, I'm not saying that we're definitely going to win some of these fixtures, but if they play anything like they did against Leicester, they're going to certainly stand themselves in good stead.
A few
Yeah,
years back as well, this trophy actually was the highest payout, wasn't it? You got
used
more
to be,
prize
yeah.
money from this than you did the European Cup or the Premiership. So
Yeah,
it's like it's also that incentive just to go into the knock off some more money off the debt.
yeah.
All these
I think
clubs.
I think there's a few. I think the Saints, they don't even hide it. They've literally said this is a development competition. This is about getting these players opportunities to play and show what they can do, etc. But then also, I also think it plays a part in making sure we get everyone up playing into standard, so that because they haven't necessarily always managed that transition after the Six Nations back into the Prem all that well. I think that, let's face it, there was quite a bad result last year after the Six Nations, which we won't go into. But
Mention that.
yeah, but like that management might have been a case of, well, if some of these players are performing in this tournament, they actually start and come into that game, and you think you ease your Six Nation players back in because you've got these players who are stepping up and delivering at the level that you need to deliver at. Um, I also think it's what's great about, I know that we've talked about the cup format, what it was before, etc. But what this competition does is give you a fixed number of games in blocks. Like, so those players like Pater, like McParland, whoever, are playing with the coaching group, treating them as the first team for a prolonged period of play, for a long period of time.
Yeah.
They're the stars of the show at the moment. They're running the training sessions. They're running the game plan. They're not second fiddle to an international, or they're not running the Wandies team against the first team. They're running the show. And how often do you get that opportunity to do it for a 6-week period?
That's what Finn Brown said, didn't he, on our special? He said it's not, I can't remember which colour it was. He said it's nice. Do they wear the reds or not? He said it's nice to wear the opposite colour and actually be in the first team squad. So I know he didn't actually play that week, which is ironic, bless him. But I know what he means. It's just like you just said, they're like the main men. So they're the guys and then if they do well, like you said, why wouldn't they start? Is it Newcastle, the first Prem game back, I think?
Yes.
Is it Newcastle?
Yeah, it sounds right.
It is Newcastle, yep.
Yeah.
It's a nice fixture, that.
It makes a change. It's normally Bristol.
It definitely
away,
could be worse. Yeah.
I think the year I think whenever it was 2024 when we won it, I think if you look at the fixtures either side of the international periods, was part of the reason we finished top, because we got some good luck with with who we played. I think unlike last year where if we'd have had Newcastle at home rather than them up the road at home, who knows how we'd have kicked on after that. It was a draw. And if you think the year we won it, we actually drew. We finished top on wins, didn't we? Because we finished the same points as Bath. So if we hadn't had Newcastle in that fixture, you never know where it would have ended up, and history would have been different potentially. But anyway. Anyway, I think that's unless we've got anything else we want to cover off before we finish.
Are we not going to make any predictions?
It's very difficult, but yeah.
Just make it something like that, is it? Just call a shout.
Yeah, I suppose.
Go on then. Go on, Jess, you go first.
I think I'm going to go, I don't know, 21-24, because we're away.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who. I'm going to pick Tame again. I'm just trying to think of who definitely will get selected, and even then I still don't know.
Go on, Si. You're on mute, mate.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just getting the weather for Friday. I didn't get it, so I didn't get it in time. I'll go 28-32, and I'll go Rami.
Oh, that's a good call. I'll go 32-36. And I'm gonna go with Pater. Because he's the future, isn't he? Like, is he the new chosen one? Joking. No one's the chosen one as of yet. It's still, and it will be for him. Okay, thanks so much for listening, everyone. It's been another interesting show. It's always interesting when there's no real Saints stuff to talk about, but Lots of Saints interaction with the world of rugby at the moment, so it's still interesting. But thanks for listening. Please remember to follow us, leave feedback, add us on socials, whatever it may be. I've been Charles, Jess has been Jess, Simon's been Simon. Thank you very much.
Cheers, goodbye.